Heyo, crossover nerd here. Time once again to read another chapter from my fanfiction, Rift in the Multiverse, Book 1, Ooze End. If you don't remember where Chapter 4 left off last time, the adventurers were outsmarted by Dr. Gross and left stranded on an exploding exploding hub island. And now they did escape, of course. Now we're gonna continue with Chapter 5, Very Distant Lands. Minerva. What do we do now? The group was trying to process what had just happened. Their transportation was destroyed, and the last human settlement was a smoldering crater on a mountain. And Dr. Gross managed to escape after adding the greatest insult to Bubblegum's ego. Finn embraced his mom to comfort her and make up for lost time, while everyone sat in silence as BMO piloted the ship to the land of Ah. Finn and the others looked to Bubblegum for answers, but she was distraught over the destruction of her ship. Finn tried to comfort her. Finn, Suddenly, before Finn could finish speaking, Bubblegum punched him so hard she gave him a black eye and knocked 3 of his adult teeth out. After covering her bubblegum fist after turning her bubblegum fist into a jawbreaker fist. Bubblegum, shut up! Just shut up, you wad! This is all your fault! Finn, my fault! Bubblegum, yes, your fault! If it wasn't for you, my ship wouldn't have been destroyed! Finn, me? If you hadn't brought that psycho on board! Jake, glove dang it, will you two stop already? Dr. Gross outsmarted us all right? Our ship is gone and we can't get it back. All we can do is make a plan to catch up to her, save everyone, and... Finn. Jake? Suddenly, Jake collapsed to the floor, and when Finn went to inspect him, Bubblegum tried to stop him by holding his wrist and quietly stuck a little pink sticker onto him. Bubblegum, get back, Finn. Haven't you done enough damage? You probably hit Jake with your dangerous powers and hurt him. Finn, seriously? I didn't even touch him, and this coming from the girl who just hit me with a fist made out of jawbreaker candy? Minerva, let me look at him, sweetie. Get out of the way, your majesty. Minerva propped Jake up on a chair and reclined him back to inspect him. She found on his back he received multiple stings from Dr. Gross's monster. She then applied some medicine from an emergency first aid kit under the seat to Jake's back. Minerva, he'll be unconscious for a couple of days, but he's okay. And he's right. Arguing or placing blame on each other solves nothing. The real criminal to blame is Dr. Gross, and we need to make a plan before charging in and fighting her. She's not only brilliant and dangerous, but she's also clever. Probably the cleverest mind in the world, Bubblegum. Minerva, zip it! That ego of yours is why Dr. Gross outsmarted you and got away. You allowed her to play on your weaknesses, and now my people, Fiona, Marceline's brother, and the others on could be in serious trouble. So unless you're ready to admit you were wrong and start compromising, we won't get anywhere. Bubblegum, why should I change? I've been this way for thousands of years and have always done things on my own. It should be everyone else who needs to change and see things my way and realize I'm the real greatest mind here. I can easily take down one lone pathetic human playing scientist, and the rest of you should stay out of my way. Suddenly, there was a loud bump under the ship that caused them to stop and knocked Bubblegum and Minerva over. Bubblegum, BMO, I swear if you did that on purpose, I will... BMO, it wasn't me. Suddenly, more thumps could be heard around the ship's hull. Minerva quickly activated a screen on the dashboard, and it was revealed outside they were being held by the same giant tentacle that attacked them when they first left Ooh. Then a huge mass emerged from the toxic sea and revealed to be a giant monster attached to the giant tentacle, And before the group had a chance to react, the tentacle squeezed their hull and the creature brought up another giant arm, which revealed to be a giant crustacean claw that then broke off the wings and tail of the ship. Finn tried to use his powers only for nothing to happen. As he stood there confused, Bubblegum was about to hack the ship's system with her powers, but then something broke through the roof of the ship and filled it with knockout gas. Before anyone could react, they all passed out, and when the beast saw they were unconscious, it started wading through the water with the heroes and their ship still in its clutches. Meanwhile, far out ahead was the land of Oz, an advanced and more evolved environment of strange buildings, roadways, and sidewalks made from a strange technology had mixed with the nature of the island, creating a glorious metropolis that had been destroyed and mutated by the toxic waste, leaving no living thing around except for the former residents who were mutated roaming the streets. No place was safe except for a more advanced metropolis version of a candy city in the center of the island, protected by a similar shield and security system. Unbeknownst to the survivors inside, far off away, another advanced and magical city had a protective shield around it as well, and inside was a large group of strange beings, 4 of which were humanoid demon witches from the Nightosphere with pale skin covered by fancy clothes, pointy ears, and fiery red eyes, and one a tall female techno-sapien with purple short hair and eyes, and green skin with blue circuits covered by a purple flowing gown. It was the Malachite witch family and their powerful ally, the Princess Circatrina, and surrounding them these are fan-made characters, just so you know, created by me and a few other fans in a role-playing group. More will be explained as the story progresses. And surrounding them were demon warriors loyal to the Malachites from the Nightosphere and Princess Circatrina's people, who, after being banished from Oz by Princess Bubblegum, had taken refuge on the land of Oz. Finn started to wake up from the knockout gas a few days later, but his vision was blurry, so he couldn't make out what was happening. The sea monster that had captured them had brought them to the land of Oz and was bringing them to the protected magical city Dr. Gross and her allies were hiding at. Finn knew he had to think fast and struggled, but he crawled over to Jake and managed to wake him up before passing out again. Jake. What? Bro? Jake finally woke up and realized what was happening. He thought he could get everyone out, but realized he couldn't, so he quickly donned his hazmat suit and slipped out without the monster knowing. Jake. I'll come back with help. I swear. After shrinking down, he slipped out the ship's window and then used his ears to glide off out of sight. As the monster stomped away, Jake came out of hiding to get a look at his new surroundings, and he saw what an advanced metropolis spread across this strange new land. Jake. This definitely is a step up from Oz. However, the toxic infection had destroyed the beauty of this place and its city. Jake then stretched up past the trees to survey his surroundings to find help. Finally, he spotted a smaller protective dome not far from where he was and went to investigate. Soon he came to an impressive cabin fortress hidden deep in the infected woods, but was protected by a magical dome. He had to think for a moment on how to get the attention of whoever was inside. He turned his hands into mallets and started hammering the dome. Stranger. What? Is that a strange-looking dog? Is that a strange-looking dog? The stranger opens the window. What can I do for you? Jake. My best friend is in need of need of help. They, he and our he and our team are trapped by a giant sea monster and being taken somewhere. The stranger. That sounds horrible. Let me see what I can do to help. The stranger brought Jake past his barrier and into his home, and after introducing himself as Arzog, a half-human, half-goblin warrior, and started gathering supplies and weapons, and he and Jake looked over a map of on his table he brought from his desk and figured out where the creature was going. After providing Jake with some food, he started to lead him to his door to see him off. Jake. Hold on. Aren't you going to come help me? I can't do it alone. Arzog. I gave you all the weapons and the stuff you need. Besides, a warrior like me maybe isn't cut out for that stuff anymore. The last time I tried to help, it ended very badly. I still take blame for it. Jake. Listen, Arzog, if anyone knows a thing or two about making mistakes in the past, it's me. But we can't keep living in the past, otherwise it'll define us forever. You can make amends by helping me and my friends and start anew. Arzog listened to Jake's words and thought long and hard for a moment, and even went over to a mantel on his fireplace where a proud weapon hung by hooks, and as he put a hand on it, he started to hear echoes of a terrifying battle in his mind that clearly had a deep effect on him. But he looked back at Jake, and a sense of realization came to him. Arzog. Very well, then. As he grabs his sword and places it in his sword hold, in his scabbard, Very well. As he then grabs his sword and places it in his scabbard. Arzog. I'll help you, but you will need to learn how to fight this battle and how to fight. This battle will get dangerous. Jake gave Arzog a spare hazmat suit he had just in case, and Arzog began to work with Jake on defense and battle strategy, and using his surroundings and powers to his advantage, and most importantly, how to really focus. What the two boys didn't know, however, was that back at the enemy hideout, Dr. Gross had arrived a few days earlier and was working out the final details of the next phase of their plan with Princess Circatrina and the Malachite family. Hades Malachite. Once we sneak in under the castle, we emerge from the prince's throne room and surround them. Dr. Gross. Precisely. And with Butterscotch Butler on our side, Prince Gumball and his pitiful band of heroes won't see it coming. Princess Circatrina. And once we take their kingdom, we can finally reclaim Ooh for our people and rule both lands without that arrogant princess and her lapdogs to stop us. Dr. Gross. And once it's all over, as promised, you, Princess, Hades and his family, and you, our most important ally, can finally have your much-deserved revenge on Bubblegum. Dr. Gross spoke to a hooded figure hidden in the shadows. And where is she now? Dr. Gross. Come, I will show you. Dr. Gross brought them to the hidden catacombs under Magic City, to a dungeon she and Princess Circatrina had upgraded with their combined knowledge of and Circatrina's ability to manipulate technology. Their captives were still unconscious but perfectly chained up so they couldn't fight back. Dr. Gross took a cantina of water with her to the special cell created for Bubblegum and splashed her awake. Bubblegum. What? Dr. Gross. Wake up, Princess. You have company. Bubblegum. You? And you too? Circatrina. Didn't think you'd see us again, did you, Bonnabelle? Bubblegum. You naive clods. I don't know what you're planning, but I don't care because it won't work. Bubblegum attempted to use her powers on them, only to find she was unable to. Hades. Nice try, but Dr. Gross told us about your powers, and we found that little patch you slipped on Sword Boy over there, and thanks to Dr. Gross and Sir Katrina here, we created a better version and injected your body with it, so you have no power here. Dr. Gross. See, unlike you, Bonnabelle, I have faith in my allies, and when we work together, we can accomplish much more than you ever did working alone. Sir Katrina. And that's not the only surprise we have in store for you. The hooded figure stepped forward and looked Bubblegum straight in the eye as she removed her hood, revealing to be See-Through Princess. See-Through Princess. Remember me? Suddenly, Bubblegum's bravado melted away, and she became as white as a sheet as she looked at See-Through Princess with shame and guilt. Sir Katrina. Well, well, well. Looks like you're not as perfect as you pretend to be, Bonnabelle, and soon our whole world will realize it too. The villains taunted Bubblegum as they left her to sulk in her cell. The next day, the villains gathered their army and prisoners, and in a matter of hours, after an intense battle between candy people, dark warriors, toxic and techno-magic, Prince Gumball's kingdom fell, and he, Fiona, Cake, and Marshall were thrown into the dungeon with Finn and the others. During that time, Finn, Minerva, and Marceline revealed to Fiona and Marshall that they were their long-lost family, and when Bubblegum saw Gumball, she couldn't take her eyes off him for a second. And when Gumball came to, he saw Bubblegum and couldn't help but do the same. Bubblegum tried to fight with herself to stop looking at Gumball so much, but didn't want to. And just when they all thought they were finished, suddenly Jake and Arzog came up through the candy ground and set them all and the other survivors free, and managed to take down the villains. After seeing the Land of Oz, the adventurers sat down and... After freeing the Land of Oz, the adventurers sat down and talked about what to do next. Bubblegum was urging to continue finding a new safe land. Gumball and Sasha tried to convince her that there was no safe place left except the small refuge created in both Candy Kingdoms, but Bubblegum refused to listen. So they all piled into a new vessel to keep looking, but traveled at super speed given the time limit the survivors they knew had. Suddenly they came to a strange new place that appeared to be a harbor in the middle of the ocean. When they investigated, it appeared abandoned, and thanks to the toxic waste, infected like everything else. However, they discovered a small figure moving in the shadows. After an hour of tailing the figure, they finally cornered it in a strange giant barrel called the Candy Barrel. The figure revealed himself as Flapjack. He once dreamed of being an adventurer until his so-called captain abandoned him for candy and syrup, and his mother figure, Bubby the Whale, and all of Stormalong Harbor was infected by the apocalypse. Flapjack told how he waited for a long time for anyone else to come, and even tried exploring himself, but learned there was no safe place left, and even returned Bubblegum's drones as proof of each place she sent them to, with recordings of monsters and infection everywhere. Bubblegum. This can't be true. There must be a safe place left. Flapjack. I've been everywhere outside of Stormalong. There isn't anything left past here. The Sea of Teeth or the West. Gumball. Bonnie, maybe we should hear Flapjack out. We could just... Bubblegum. No! There is a safe place, and I will prove it. You can all come with me or die out here. The group was taken aback by what she said. They all realized they had no choice but to keep following her. They soon came to an island known as the Inkwell Isles, where they met 3 young cups hiding in a fallout shelter named Cuphead, Mugman, and Miss Chalice. After talking, the adventurers learned their story of what happened to their island, similar to their own situation, and after dodging several oozers of the young cup's former friends and family, they returned to the ship and escaped. While, ta- while talking, the villains could hear them about how Marceline and Marshall Lee were the children of Hunson Abadir, and now how Cuphead, Mugman, and Miss Chalice had often dealt with the devil himself on their crazy adventures, and this gave Dr. Gross and her team several ideas. After another day at sea, Bubblegum had them following the trail of her last drone that hadn't returned. The group was distracted, talking amongst themselves that they had no idea that the villains were working the final details of their plan, and how letting themselves be captured was part of it. At long last, the vessel arrived at the largest infected island ever seen. They explored it, leaving BMO to watch the villains. But then Dr. Gross and her team caught the robot by surprise, and the adventurers in the meantime had arrived at the center of the island, where Bubblegum's last drone was, and saw a giant hole with the first catalyst comet resting inside, and the drone had turned into a techno creature protecting it. Then the villains caught the adventurers by surprise and captured them all and gathered around the comet and brought both the farm world in Kyridian and Fiona's in Kyridian together to make the ultimate spellbook. But the heroes got loose and charged at the villains, and in their struggle the book absorbed Bubblegum's royal gem and summoned the others, and with a supercharge of electricity from Bubblegum in the struggle, opened 8 portals that sucked Bubblegum, Finn, Jake, Marceline, BMO, Fiona, Cake, and Marshall Lee inside. And after shaking the surprise from their faces, Dr. Gross asked Sir Katrina and the Malachite family to follow them, as she went after Gumball, Flapjack, Arzog, Cuphead, Mugman, and Miss Chalice, who were escaping from the ship, and when the villains dived into the portals, they closed, and Dr. Gross tailed after Gumball, Flapjack, Arzog, Cuphead, Mugman, and Miss Chalice, who were making a beeline for Ah and Ooh. And that's the end of Chapter 5. Please like and subscribe and follow my channel, and please be sure to leave a comment to let me know what you think of my story so far. Have a good one.